as we've come, we should not go back the same way as we did. It so happened that Paul had been put under the custody of Julius together with other prisoners, but they had to sail to Rome. So the other prisoners were also under the same custody of Julius. And it so happened that the other soldiers had made a plan to have all of them killed just because of the circumstances that were happening on their way to Rome. So while on their way to Rome, Paul tried to talk to the person who was in charge of the ship in the name of by the time they get to Crete, he's afraid it would be past the safe sailing time, but no one could listen to him. I mean, what is a prisoner telling us? But he did not sit back. He kept on advising them on to what they should do and went ahead to keep praying and also telling them what the God has for them. When you go to verses 41 to 44, this is where he stands up to tell them the fact that no one should be worried because of the strong wind that was slamming the ship. And when the strong wind started slamming down the ship, of course, everyone had different ideas. Maybe we should offload it. We should throw some of the cargo that they have on the ship into the, I can call it an ocean or the sea that they were sailing on. But that wasn't what Paul had for them. Remember, in the very beginning, they wanted to have all of them killed so that maybe they could survive in the name of now the ship has gotten lighter, and they were advising some of them to jump off and, start swimming. But how sure are we that all of them knew how to swim? Definitely, maybe some of them never knew how to swim. So here comes Paul, who tells them that no, the God advises us to always be strong and determined because he never leaves our side and he never forgets his people. Yes, the doubt may be there, but we should always keep it in mind that he's always on time. This is why I was like, we shall first give a brief summary of the first five and those other following verses. Then we shall read 41 to 44. As reading verses 41 to 44, you get to realize that despite the fact that had gotten the ship had been broken down, some of them were actually in position to hold onto them and they sailed to their final destination. We can call it the offshore. That definitely brings us to our theme today, which is making it on broken pieces. What does making it on broken pieces mean? Breaking it down, I can call these broken pieces the different challenges and the different problems that we could be facing in our day-to-day lives. It could be tuition challenges, academic problems. You could be worried of, will I be in position to get money and, pay up all the different bills that you could be having. Those are what we call the broken pieces. And the good news is that God will always use these very broken pieces and will definitely lead you to success. In most cases, whenever I'm talking about something to do with a challenge and faith, I always use myself as an example, and that was last year in July. Yes, I remember we were left with 9 days to our final exams. And guess what? I had to undergo an operation. You know how you've made your plans of between this time and this time, this week, these days, I'll be reading this. And here comes an obstacle as an operation. What did I do? Yes, it was so hard. My friends who could come to see me, they would be like, Prima, will you be in position to make it? But I kept telling them, no, I believe I can do this. I can do this. It always reminded me of the fact that even when there are challenges, but you have that good faith and you have that hope in God, He will always stand up for you. And guess what? Yes, I was operated. I thank God it was successful. I was able to read and I still sat for my end of semester exams. And I'm so grateful that despite the fact that yes, I could have a little pain here and there, at least that semester was one of my best done. This reminds us of the fact that God can always use the broken pieces and will definitely lead to success. Back to academics. Yes, we could be reading a topic, things are not, coming out. You have very many assignments on your table. There is this to do. You have assignments to submit. Deadlines are striking like nothing. Before you know it, the examination period is around the corner. God will always use the broken pieces and will lead you to success. Yes, you may be facing those challenges. You're thinking of the tuition deadline is also coming in. Maybe we haven't cleared, but God can always use the broken pieces, which are the different challenges or problems that you could be facing, and will definitely lead you to success. I therefore want to encourage each one of us to always remember the fact that God always commands us, reminds us to be determined and confident, because He can never let His children suffer, and He can never take you where His success, where His goodness, His grace cannot sustain you. The example that we can pick from the Bible is that of uh, Hannah and Penina. We all know that Penina had children and Hannah was not in position to give birth to children. What did she do? She turned unto the Lord, just like Paul turned to the Lord, pleading so that they could make it to the offshore successfully. She pleaded with God. She cried out. Actually, if you read the Bible, it tells you that time came and she could not speak. All she was doing was to cry. You could see the lips moving, but you could hardly hear whatever she was doing. So, if we can all borrow that leaf, that faith that God cannot let all your effort, you cannot ask, you cannot request Him of something and he does not answer, or you cannot ask for something and he gives you the other, just like that verse that says that you cannot ask your father for fish and he gives you a snake. Definitely he can't. So as we end today's fellowship, our take home is faith, courage and determination. Thank you.